Hello, this is Dr. Jeff Craig, Superintendent of West Aurora Schools, and welcome back to our board recaps. Today we're going to be recapping our February board meetings. So let's start with our February 6th board meeting. In information, continuing the teaching and learning building presentations at elementary group, including Mrs. Beth Smith, principal at Hill, Miss Kelly Papp, principal of Greenman, and Mr. Jeff Hetrick, principal of Goodwin Elementary, presented math learning at the elementary level. The group discussed the current curriculum being used and had a chance to try out a mock lesson. There were also surprise guests from Mrs. Carrie Grabsky's class. Mrs. Grabsky and her students modeled a number talks lesson to illustrate the thought process behind math problems. The group was very engaged, and the presentation gave a better understanding of how students think about math at this level. As we do annually, the Board of Education presented a draft of the meeting calendar for the next year. They will continue to follow the same cadence as in previous years, with most regular meetings on the first and third Mondays of the month, except when a holiday falls on a Monday, which would then bump those meetings to Tuesday. Mrs. Ana Gonzalez, our Director of Community Affairs, updated the board on current events throughout the district. One large event that was highlighted was the Power of Us Day, held at West High School. This day gives staff an opportunity to come together and be recognized for various awards and also attend professional learning sessions. In action items, the board approved the textbook adoptions for the secondary courses that were previously presented. Now as we move on to our February 21st board meeting. In information, Mr. Greg Probst, the Board of Education Treasurer, presented the second quarter Treasurer's Report. The outcome is generally good for the current state of the district's finances, and we have about 6 months in reserves. Mr. Jeff Schiller, our Director of Operations, discussed the upcoming bid process for our waste hauling. Our current contract will be expiring, so the district will have a bid opening process, and a vendor will be chosen based on the specified qualifications. The next two presentations were geared towards board member candidates running in our upcoming election. Each election year, our divisions are asked to present a higher-level overview of people in their departments and their responsibilities. The first presentation was introduced by Dr. Angie Smith, our Assistant Superintendent for Operations. Dr. Smith had her team each discuss information about their department makeup, their day-to-day job tasks, and important annual processes. In attendance was Mrs. Brandy Cackert, Director of Transportation, Mr. Jeff Schiller, our Director of Operations, Mr. Kyle Freise, Director of Technology, Mrs. Sharon Terfelder, Assistant Director of Information Services, Mrs. Marty Nearing, our Executive Director of Student and Family Services, and Dr. Valerie McCall, our Director of Educational Equity. The next informational presentation was done by Dr. Michael Smith, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. Dr. Smith gave some highlights of his department staff and upcoming dates to remember as it relates to staff evaluations. Discussion items. Dr. Angie Smith, Assistant Superintendent of Operations, updated the board on our litigation process regarding Juul vaping. In November of 2020, the board approved the district to join a mass action lawsuit against Juul. Data was compiled on the impact vaping has had on our district and submitted. The company settled, and the district is entitled to $271,429. In action items, the board approved the acceptance of the proposed Juul litigation in the amount previously stated. And that's it for our school board recap for February. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time.